Hey there, this is RecPro making a special guest appearance here in Chris's tutorial about set dressing. Chris handed me the map you see here, asking me if I could do some light effects and turn it into a nighttime setting. First thing we're going to have to do, however, is clean it up a bit, because as you can see the light settings are all wrong. There's some fog miscoloring and washing out things and stuff like that. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we can do is start by removing this fog, because as you can see here in the background it gives this kind of blue-grayish color, which isn't looking too good. So let's start by finding the fog and just delete it. It's pretty simple, just click on it and hit the delete key. Next up, this directional light, which is great if you're doing sunlight, but we don't really need it in a nighttime environment, so that has to go as well. Simply click it and delete it. Now, we have another problem. There is somewhere in this scene a point light that is kind of orphaned, way off in the distance. A quick way to find it is to open the content browser and go to the scene tab, and you can see right here this point light is located somewhere way off, and there we go, it's right down there. Just simply delete that as well. Now, as you can see, all light sources should actually have been deleted by now, but somehow the scene is still illuminated. And this is because when Chris started this map, he started off with one of the pre-built light scenes. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the daytime scene actually. But we need to reset all these pre-built settings, and you can do that by going to the view menu and go to the world properties here. And in the rendering, you can see default post-process settings. This is in bold font to show that you're not using the default settings. So we can just right click up here and reset to default. And as you can see, that changed the light settings quite dramatically right here. Or actually it changed the post-processing settings, but it really affects the visibility or the appearance of the light as well. The light environment, will reset that to default as well, and the light mask will reset that to default. And there we go. We're all back to default light settings. Okay. As you can see now, all the lighting is gone. You can see that by it automatically switching to the unlit mode up here. If we switch to the lit mode, you should be able to see that everything is pretty much all black. The reason that some of the things aren't black is because we haven't rebuilt our lighting settings, which you can see down here. You can see this little exclamation mark, meaning that we need to rebuild our lights. This here means that we need to rebuild our paths, which isn't really important for us right now. And the lighting, yeah, I guess we could rebuild it, so let me just do it real fast, and I'll be pausing in the meantime because it can take a little while. So I'll see you in a second. Okay, welcome back, and lighting is done building, and as you can see, I switched it back to unlit mode, but if I switch to lit mode, everything is all black because there are no more light sources left in this map. So let's switch back to unlit mode for a second, and the first thing we need to do is we need to add what is called a skylight, which is it's pretty much nothing more than just an ambient light source. So let's find the skylight inside our content browser, which you can find by clicking on this icon. Then go to the Actor Classes tab, expand the lights, expand skylights, and then find the skylight. Make sure it's selected and go ahead and just close down the content browser and click anywhere inside your map and just select Add Skylight here. Now let's just move this a bit out of the way. Where it's positioned doesn't really matter because, as I said before, it's an ambient light, so the light level will be uniform across the entire level, regardless of where the light source is positioned. So let's double click it and modify some of its properties here. It's way too bright for a nighttime setting, so let's just try and put it down to 0.25. That helps a bit, definitely. We need to make it kind of dark, dark color. I mean, at night it's like a dark blue light, so let's try doing like this. 140, 65, 65. Yeah, it actually looks... Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So let's do that. Now, we need to enable it to cast shadows. Just to give it that kind of extra realism. Not sure how much effect it's going to have, but we need to turn off dynamic shadows, composite shadows, and effect composite shadows here, because it won't really work with the skylight, so no need to have it enabled. And that's pretty much it for our skylight. We have a nice and dark scene here. Now it's time to continue with the small lights that Chris has placed around the levels. So you can see here these little lights placed on the walls here. These of course need to have some sort of light source. What we're going to do here is we're going to start out by creating one light source and alter it to our liking, and then after that we'll just copy it around to the different places in the level where we want it. So let's start by making the first light. You can do that by going to the content browser once again and the actor classes. And the thing we need to remember here is that Chris has asked us to do flickering lights, which means that we can't just use any light source. We need a light source that we can turn on and off, and you can do that by the point light toggleable that we have right here. So let's make sure that one is selected and close down the content browser and just right click anywhere once again and select add point light toggleable here, and wow, okay, yeah, that icon might be a tad too big. Let's resize it to like 0.25. You can do that by selecting the first box down here in the bottom. This is scaling on all three axes at once, this is the X, this is the Y, and this is the Z axis, and this is all three axes at once. So let's try 0.25. That seems pretty good. That way it doesn't bother us too much. We can move it up to where we want it. And we need to move it out a little bit so the shadows don't screw up. Like that? Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now, for an eerie setting, this light is way too bright, and in my opinion the light radius is too high, or rather it's too big. So let's go ahead and change that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click the light source, and I'm going to move out a bit so I can see it better. First thing that we need to do is definitely we need to decrease the radius, and you can do that by expanding the point light component up here, and the radius is at the top here, and we'll put in like 512. Let's try a 512. Yeah, that should work. We may need to decrease the brightness though, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's put it at 0.25 perhaps. Yeah, that works, but I still think the light is a little bit off. Maybe we can soften it a bit. Let's try this light blue. Let's try 255 for blue, yeah? 200 for green, and 170 for red. Now that's more like it. That looks a bit better. I like that. Excuse me. So, we need to enable dynamic shadows here. And we need to, this is another thing, we need to make sure that dynamic shadow channel or dynamic lighting channel is enabled, so that the assets in the level know that this point light is actually casting dynamic light out. So, and well, that's pretty much it for that light. Now all we need to do is copy it around the level. This is fairly easy actually. What you can do is you can hold down the Alt key and simply drag it across to wherever you want it. And we can just not too fond of that shadow right there. Let's see if we can get rid of it. Whoops. Sheesh. Yeah, there we go. Do I really need it to pull it out more? No. Yeah, there we go. That was 2. Let's go ahead and make another copy. Again, I'm just holding down Alt and then dragging. And we need to position that one down here. Let's see here. can be a little bit easier if you place them using the side and the front and the top views, but I don't really like working in those views. I prefer you know, the perspective view here. Let's make another copy, and again, of course, I'm holding down the Alt and moving this one into place. Right about, yeah, I need to go a little bit closer. And a little bit down. There we go. One. Just one missing? Yep. Looks like it. Okay. So, one last time I'm holding down Alt, dragging. And we'll move this last one into place. And here we go. Let's see here. Yeah, that looks about right, doesn't it? A little bit far off, maybe. Here we go. Now, things still look a little bit too bright, but that's okay. You can't really count on it just yet. We need to rebuild the lights. So let me just do that, and I will see you when it's done. And welcome back. And as you can see, the lights are done building here, and it makes a ton of difference. Now this is nice looking. I really like the outcome of that. The next part, we're gonna set up the flickering lights, which is done by some material manipulations through the visual scripting system called Kismet, and we're going to be using Matinee a very little bit as well. But I will see you in the next section. Talk to you soon.